You're 30 years old, sitting in an office you've spent a decade climbing towards, and a horrifyingly quiet thought lands in your mind. I hate this. You're 40, looking across the dinner table at a person you've built a life with, and the silence feels heavier than a mountain. You're 50, and the ghost of a dream you abandoned for a sure thing years ago has come back to haunt you. In these moments, a heavy, soundproof door slams shut in the architecture of your mind. A cold, authoritative voice you recognize as your own declares a verdict, and the sentence is life. It says, "It's too late." This feeling, this chilling finality, is one of the most paralyzing experiences in the human condition. It is not just a passing thought, it's a cognitive prison. A self-imposed life sentence based on a crime you never committed, the simple, irreversible passage of time. But what if I told you that door is an illusion, and the heavy, iron chains you feel wrapped around your ankles are forged not of reality, but of perception? The crippling feeling that it's too late is not a fact. It is a powerful, predictable cognitive glitch, a bug in your brain's ancient, emotional operating system. Today, we're not just going to describe that bug. We're going to drag it out into the light. We're going to reverse engineer its source code. And then, I'm going to give you the patch that will set you free. Part 1. Anatomy of a Mental Prison. To debug the code, we must first identify the villain. And the villain's name is a psychological trap known as the sunk cost fallacy. To understand it, let's start with a universal, low-stakes scenario, the bad movie. You're an hour into a new film. The acting is awful. The plot is a chaotic, nonsensical mess. Every logical instinct in your brain, every fiber of your being, is screaming at you to cut your losses, get up, and walk out of the theater. But you stay. Why? A quiet, seemingly rational voice whispers in your ear, "Well, I've already invested an hour, and I paid for the ticket." That right there is the trap. The trap isn't the bad movie. The trap is that line of thinking. The sunk cost fallacy is our irrational, deep-seated tendency to continue with an endeavor once an investment of time, money, or effort has been made, even when all current evidence shows that cutting our losses is the far superior option. Now let's escalate the stakes. That bad movie is your 10-year career in a job that is actively draining your soul. It is the expensive degree for a field you now despise. It is the failing business you keep pouring your life savings into, praying for a miracle that your logical brain knows will never come. The sunk cost is the time, the money, the emotional energy that is already gone. It's a ghost. It is a historical artifact. It's a phantom number from the past that your brain insists on adding to every single calculation about your future. Part 2. The engine of inertia. This glitch in your system is not a logical failure. You know logically that the path you're on is wrong. This is a deep, emotional, and ego-driven malfunction. And it's powered by 3 ancient, invisible forces. The first driver is a core piece of your neurological hardware, loss aversion. Your brain is hardwired by evolution to feel the pain of a loss approximately twice as powerfully as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. When you think about quitting that career, your logical brain might see the potential for a happy future. But your ancient, emotional brain sees something else entirely. It sees the guaranteed loss of the 10 years of your life and the mountain of effort you've already invested. Abandoning the path feels like admitting a catastrophic failure, and your brain's ancient threat detection system will do almost anything to avoid that searing pain. The second force is your ego's powerful defense mechanism, cognitive dissonance. Your brain craves a coherent, consistent narrative where you are the hero. And in that story, you are smart. You make good decisions. Acknowledging that you've poured a decade of your life into the wrong pursuit creates a state of intense mental stress. It forces your brain to hold 2 violently contradictory beliefs at the same time. I am a smart person who makes good choices versus, I've just wasted a colossal portion of my life on a terrible one. To resolve this painful dissonance, the easiest, most efficient hack for your brain is not to change its actions, but to change its beliefs. It begins to justify the past. The third driver is the social contract. We don't just invest time, we invest our identity. I am a lawyer. I am an entrepreneur. I am with this person. Quitting isn't just a private loss of time. It feels like the public death of an identity. It comes with the immense, unspoken pressure of social judgment. We fear the questions, the confused looks, the whispers. Part 3. The liberation algorithm. So how do we overwrite this buggy, multi-layered code? You don't fight it with willpower. You dismantle it with a protocol, a system. a conscious, deliberate debugging of your own mind. Phase 1, the brutal audit, quantify the ghost. You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to name. Sit down with a piece of paper and write it down. Be specific. 10 years of my career. $150,000 in student loan debt. Look that number in the eye. That time, that money, that energy is now a ghost. By labeling it as a sunk cost, you move that number from the future decisions column of your mental spreadsheet to the past expenses column, where it can no longer harm you. Phase 2, the alchemical reframe from waste to wisdom. This is the most powerful hack. You must reframe the narrative. You did not waste 10 years. You paid tuition for a priceless, master's level education. You spent a decade of your life to learn, in intricate, painful detail, exactly what you do not want. You didn't buy a prison, you paid for absolute, unshakable clarity. That is not a loss. It is the most valuable asset you now possess. Don't you dare let it go to waste. Phase 3, the future simulator, A/B testing your life. Your CEO brain is a powerful simulation machine. Use it. Close your eyes and ask it to run 2 scenarios. First, simulation A. Project your life 5 years from now if you change nothing. Be brutally honest. What is the first emotion you feel when you wake up? Now run simulation B. You make the terrifying leap. The first year is hard. It is a struggle. But what does life feel like in 5 years on that path? Which future self has more energy? More aliveness? Which future simulation creates less regret? Regret is the ghost of a choice you didn't make. Which ghost would you rather live with? Phase 4, the atomic reset, starting a controlled burn. A dramatic, movie-like life overhaul is a fantasy. It invites failure. The solution is not a revolution. It is a single, atomic first step. A 1% turn. Your goal is simply to start a small, controlled fire on the new path. Take one tiny, almost insultingly easy action that begins to build the new you. Want to change careers? Your action for tonight is to spend 2 minutes watching a single video about a new skill. That's it. It's not quitting. It's exploring. You are casting a vote for a new identity. Part 4, the void of the new beginning. So you've run the protocol. You've reframed the past, simulated the future, and taken that first atomic step. You've broken the chain. And in that moment of liberation, you expect to feel a surge of pure, cinematic joy. But instead, you are often hit by something else. The void. The terrifying, echoing silence of an empty space. The old path, for all its misery, was familiar. It had structure. It had rules. It had a clear, if unfulfilling, identity attached. When you leave that path, you are not immediately on a new one. You are, for a time, in a desolate no-man's land. The old you is gone, but the new you has not yet been forged. This period of transition is what psychologists call the liminal space. It is the threshold, and it is the moment most people panic and run back to the prison they just escaped, because the certainty of misery can feel safer than the uncertainty of freedom. The key to surviving the void is to understand its purpose. It is not an error. It is not a sign you've made a mistake. It is the fallow period before the spring. It is the quiet cocoon before the transformation. This is the time not for frantic action, but for deep listening. The silence isn't empty, it's pregnant with possibility. Your job here is not to fill the void with more noise. Your job is to sit in the quiet discomfort and allow the blueprint of your new path to slowly reveal itself. You must have the courage to be a beginner again. Let's synthesize. The heavy, suffocating feeling that it's too late is a ghost. A phantom number on your brain's broken calculator, powered by a primal fear of loss and your ego's addiction to a comfortable story. The past is not an anchor. It is the tuition you paid for the wisdom you now possess. And the terrifying void that follows a brave choice is not an ending. It is a necessary, fertile emptiness. The future is not a closed door. It is an unwritten page. So you must stop asking the prisoner's question, "Is it too late for me?" And you must replace it with the captain's question, "Knowing everything I've learned, what direction will I choose to steer my ship starting today?" Your past does not own you. Your history does not have a vote on your destiny. You are not just the ship, you are the captain. The old logbooks have been read. The new map is in your hands. Pick a star and start sailing.